criticizing me. I was gazing at the sea. To be a good meditation teacher, to be relaxed and centered and open, a little bit
That's
less sweat.
if that less sweat. If that's all it takes, we're in good hands.
So I want to kind of go over a little bit again. I know it's a little bit boring, but I think you cannot hear it often enough. Exactly what are non-dual qualities and where do they come from and how do we learn and why do we get so entangled and especially entangled with outer authority? That was a question yesterday, and it's outer authority, outer authority. And inner authority as well. We give our ego authority, we give our personality authority, but it's very difficult for us to give our essence authority. Or as some people call it, maybe soul, the inner light, soul, inner light, the essence, what is always there and will not change, the higher identity which is there. So some teachers say that the higher identity is our consciousness. And that means that the moment that you're not conscious or not aware, uh, there is no identity. And that's a way of looking at it, and it could be true. But then, how I perceive it, that a higher identity is behind consciousness. Consciousness is something which is born from our essence. And it's one of the first things which are born. And this is a little miracle. It's a little miracle that we are here in a physical world and we are conscious of ourselves and we are conscious of each other. When you think about it, it's really a miracle. We are aware. And not only we are aware, but also plant life is conscious. Animals are conscious. Maybe the planet in itself is conscious. And how do you know that it's conscious? So if you're conscious and you're in your consciousness and you connect with the flower is responding. So there is a blend of consciousness taking place. And of course, from this blend of consciousness, if we move deeply into it, surrender into it, then at a certain moment, a feeling of unity can come forward, that you and the flower are one. And this unity is very specific. It's very specific as an as an experience. Unity is not I am the flower or the flower is me. It's a deep realization that the source, which is expressing itself through the flower, is exactly the same source as which is expressing itself through me. This is the depth of unity, the recognition that we all are coming together in one source. Because, if I was the flower and the flower is me, there is still an I in between. And when you recognize the source inside yourself, you can also recognize the source in a flower, the source in another person. And this source is expressing itself through all life forms, maybe through the whole universe, in many, 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 many different forms. And each form is unique. And each form is perceiving in a unique way. And that's a little bit a miracle when you think about it. It means that I perceive in a certain way, but the flower is perceiving in a different way. But the flower is perceiving. Otherwise, it couldn't connect, it couldn't reach out. It's only conscious which can become aware of conscious. What is not conscious, we cannot become conscious of. It's a kind of a logic when you think about it. And it could also be that there is things around us which are conscious in a total different way, not kind of according to our consciousness or the flower's consciousness or the plant's consciousness or the floor consciousness even. We don't know because we will not be conscious of that. And again, these are all mysteries, the unknown. And the unknown is so important because this is often the difficulty if we kind of say, we know this, I know it. The moment we know something, it's dead. It's not alive anymore. Because when we know something, it is like this, and it will be like this, and it will always be like this. It's only in the moment that we can understand, but the next moment it could be different. Life is changing all the time. Experience is changing all the time. But we as humans have the tendency to hold on to a certain experience and say, okay, this is the truth, this is reality, and it has always have to be like this. So we come back to this. Why? Why are we doing this? Because it creates a lot of suffering. And it brings us, in a way, out of the here and now, out of experience, into experience which so often is, how do you say it, fabricated. Fabricated. You know, we are at a party and we have to be joyful. So we fabricate joy. We think joy. So we have to be joy. And is this really what is there? And so we have to stay in this state of joy because we are partying. And you see people literally transform when they go to a party, to a certain part of their personality. They move in this part of that personality, and that's it. And when you look at it, it's very limited. It's the party personality. It's very limited. It's very, it has hardly any depth. There's hardly any experience possible. So we take some drugs to experience something. And to feel good, and to be happy, and to be able to party. But again, this is all fabricated. This is not in the here and now, and it's almost with everything that we fabricate. We fabricate, the mind is deciding how we have to be, what we have to feel, and what we have to express. So the mind is a main authority. So let's leave this for a moment and kind of take another angle and look again. We move back to what we could call our essence or our true nature. And essence and true nature, again, is a mystery. But what we know about this mystery is if this mystery is moving into form, then the first things which are coming forward is what Georgi and I are calling non-dual qualities, inner core qualities. So if we move really to the depth of ourselves in a certain area, we say, okay, the whole universe is love. Everything is bound by itself, by love. Love, the unconditional love, is what brings everything together. It's kind of what is filling the emptiness between the planets, between the galaxies. It's But if we take another angle and we move, through peace, and we go to the depth of peace, we say, okay, the universe is made of peace. There is this incredible peace between the planets. There's this incredible peace. And the universe is made of genius. There is this genius which is connected everything. There is this innocence. There's this purity. So when we move to the depth of an inner core quality, then we move in a certain dimension. A dimension in which it seems that this quality is alive in everything and is in the emptiness between everything. So that's partly why there's also different schools, different religions, because different religions and different schools are also working according certain qualities and have the biggest conflict often in the religion itself or the school itself with the conflict, like human beings. It's often if a certain non-dual quality is very strong inside ourselves, that there is a lot of struggle with it as well in our lives. And this is important to understand, that if we are in a struggle, in a conflict, if we are suffering, behind the suffering is always a price, is a non-dual quality. And this non-dual quality is kind of the treasure which is hidden in our suffering, in our inner fight. And the moment we kind of are able to move with the suffering, why are we suffering? So there's one reason, only one reason why we are suffering. Is because we fight. We fight with a certain experience. We are in conflict with a part of ourselves. And I make a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is part of life. But if we fight the pain, we start to suffer. And we all know this. It's not something new I'm telling. We have a pain in our knee and we're watching, a series on television and we hardly feel the pain because we don't fight it. And then, the series is gone and we think, oh, what about our knee? Oh, shit. And I wanted to be away already, and the more we kind of, want to get rid of it, the more we are suffering because we cannot get rid of it. We cannot undo. But we try to undo all the time. We are angry and we don't want to feel the anger. We don't want to be angry. This is already something, because if we feel anger, we are angry. And, who wants to be angry? It's such a strong, how do you say it, identification with it. It's just a feeling. So the fighting is creating the suffering. We suffer anger when we fight, because how do we get angry? We don't want to be angry, so there must be a reason for our anger. Anger is completely irrational, but there must be a reason, and the reason is not that we didn't sleep a night, that we kind of stood up already quite annoyed. No, the reason is you. You shouldn't have. Or they shouldn't have, or whatever. The reason is outside ourselves. And because you behaved like this, I've got the right to be angry. So basically, the suffering which is there, because we cannot stand anger, we kind of blame something outside ourselves for this suffering. And by blaming something outside ourselves, it's more easy for us to accept the anger and we suffer it less. We can allow the feeling to be there. But so often then the anger becomes destructive or it becomes aggression. So it is a way we are using to help ourselves to be able to contain it. But if we are not able to take responsibility, there is a release when we hit you on the head, literally or with words. But this release needs to go on and repeat itself again and again and again and again till we are able to master our anger. And what is mastering your anger? So the first step is to accept that sometimes you're angry. Sometimes anger is there. And then, if we can allow the anger to be there, then by itself, it will kind of move back to its source, compassion. There is no compassion without anger. There is no anger without compassion. The background of anger is compassion. And the more we fight with our anger, the less compassionate we are. The more it's because of you, the less we see the other, the less we understand the other, the less we can be compassionate with the other. Then, of course, if compassion is born after the anger, we maybe can forgive, because forgiving is kind of, is a movement which is possible because of compassion. So behind the conflicts, the real conflict is not with anger in the end. The real conflict is with compassion. Compassion is the one who is suffering. It's the non-dual quality which is suffering. And these non-dual qualities, they're very close to our true nature, to our essence. It's how consciousness is expressing itself. It's how consciousness is perceiving. And each non-dual quality, when it kind of is moving into the physical world, is kind of just moving into polarities, dualities. These dualities, they're apart here because this is how this universe is built. Universe is only possible, and every form is only possible in time and space. Without time and space, there is no form possible. So that means it moves to time. It has a past and a future, and there is a now. So the now is the non-dual quality. The past and the future is the duality which is there. So if we get too much entangled, for instance, in the future, thinking about next weekend, then I can relax. Next weekend, that will be okay. Then there is a party. Then I will be happy. So I have to go through the week. We cannot be in the now. We're looking to the future. But if we are too much kind of connected with the past, I cannot really enjoy life because I went through this trauma and now I'm afraid all the time. So we're too much stuck in the past. We cannot be in the now either because the whole now is colored by the past. We circle back to the past again and again and again. These are very basic non-dual qualities. And these non-dual qualities, they have an influence. So when you look at our suffering is connected with these non-dual qualities, with the dualities in the non-dual qualities. And often because we lost ourselves in the dualities. And why do we lose ourselves in a duality? Because we don't want something. There is a trauma in the past, something which is, we want to undo it. We don't want to feel it. We don't want to go through it. We don't want to really allow the experience, whatever experience it is, to be there. So we fight it. And because we fight it, we get completely entangled. I often gave this example. Say that you are at a party, and at this party is somebody who you really dislike, an old enemy. So you're more conscious and aware of this old enemy as anybody else. It's unsafe. You're focused on it. You cannot really enjoy the party. It kind of brings this fight. It is a fight. It brings a kind of a tunnel. You cannot relax. So when we look to our true nature, so this is the first thing which we are born, which kind of unfolds itself. It unfolds itself in its qualities. If we are born and we start to breathe, our heart, which is only half of our heart, is working. The other part of our heart starts to work as well, in which the blood goes through the lungs. Before that, we don't breathe, so we don't need the blood moving through the lungs. But we start to breathe, the heart is opening, and together with this also, the heart chakra opens. And in this, what is kind of expressed or comes forward are the non-dual qualities in a very, very pure, unconditional form, as a filling in of the whole aura of a baby and the environment. This is how a baby, pure to its qualities, is experiencing and expressing itself in the environment. And we feel that. There is something very, very pure about the baby. There is this incredible light which is moving through the baby. It's the same if a person is dying. It's the same qualities, the same essence is coming forward. So we are born and we are unconditional. This is important to understand. This unconditional, that means that, it doesn't matter what is happening, we perceive it unconditional. It is what it is. It's nothing else. It's not defining the baby. It's just an experience. And some experiences are pleasant. Some experiences are unpleasant. Some experiences are very overwhelming. For instance, when you are hungry, this is overwhelming. So when you're hungry, you cry. You have a special hunger cry as a baby. And mother can recognize this. This is the hunger cry. This is the angry cry. This is the cry, when I've got pain. They're different cries. So the baby in its expression and its perception is unconditional. That doesn't mean that the baby cannot get traumatized. That's something else. So, and then this baby starts to learn in an unconditional way. It needs to learn. It needs to learn to talk, to communicate. It learned already a lot in the belly of the mother. It learned, to move emotions with biochemistry of the body according to how the mother is moving through emotions and how her biochemistry is working. And this is very important because otherwise we wouldn't understand each other. If happiness doesn't give the same biochemistry, in each person, we wouldn't recognize so easily happiness. You understand? So we have this basic biochemistry we learn already in the mother to bring thoughts, and it's very complex, thoughts, feelings, emotions together with biochemistry. We just move with the mother, and in this we learn. The biochemistry of the mother is moving through the baby, through the umbilical cord, through the blood. So the baby is born, is growing up, and we need to learn to talk. And this is all in connection. So when we are learning, we have a teacher and we have a student. And we are very dependent on this teacher. So at a certain moment, we say Ima, just by accident. Probably it's Abba because that's much more easy to say, but Ima, let's say it's Ima. We say Ima by accident. And something is happening. Ima is radiating joy. There is a strong reaction. So that means if we say this, Ima is getting happy. Ima is full of joy. Ima is telling Abba, she said Ima, she said Ima. It's exciting. So it's an affirmation. And this affirmation helps us to kind of say Ima again. Because this reaction is so pleasant, we wanted more. And this is basically how we learn, through affirmation. We say, make a noise, and this noise is recognized. At a certain moment, we can say cookie, and we get a cookie. Wow, that's magical, isn't it? It works. Some boys, that will be through their whole lives, they have mothers who kind of are so sensitive and so empathic. They only need to do and mother comes already running with the cookie. So you'll never say cookie. It's not necessary. I make a joke, but sometimes it is like that. So this is how we learn. But this is not only how we learn to talk and how we learn emotions and feelings, but we also learn behavior by this. We are angry, we are a young child, and we are angry, and we get rejected. There's no reward. And even worse, we are angry, we're expressing anger, and we get so much anger towards us that it flattens us out. It's too much to contain. So Ima became a monster, or Abba became a monster. So it's better not to express anger anymore, because this is too painful. And this is how we learn. And of course, this is quite unconditional still when we are young. Our parents are our teachers. Our parents are saying what is okay and what is not okay. And it is important because we have to deal with the world around us. We have to learn how to deal with the world around us in attitude, in beliefs, in language, in all of this. And all this time, the authority is out ourselves, who teaches us how to be and tells us what we are and how to be. And this is a difficulty. It is not really how to be, it's more how to give form to yourself, how to express in a successful way. And this is very, very basic. This is directly connected with the basis of the brain. This is directly connected with the root. It's moved through success and failure. If we do it right, it gives us a feeling of success, a feeling of mastery. We can do it. It's great. And if we do it wrong, it gives us a feeling of failure. Affirmation and rejection. If it's affirmed, we belong. If it's reject, we don't belong. This is how it's moving. And the outer authority is telling us if it's right or if it's wrong. School system is working like this. And it's already a little bit more kind of complicated because, of course, if you have a 2, it's wrong. But if you have an 8, it's very right. But then you have all the things in the middle also, which is more or less right or just not right, according to the grades you get. It's more complex. And then, of course, the most important is how your parents react on that, because they are the big authority when you're young. And it makes a whole lot of difference. But it's all through affirmation, rejection, through success, failure. And then we move into our 10 ages. And we revolt. And in the revolting, basically, what is the deeper message is we're getting very emotional, and especially very emotional when there was a lot of emotion not allowed. If it was not allowed to be there, if it's not strongly enough not allowed, we get more emotional, we get more angry, we revolt more, we can get more anxious, more fearful. There's a kind of this emotional storm is happening, and we form our emotions. And with the emotions which are coming forward, you also kind of hold on to more our, what we call identity. I'm a special part of our identity. I do it my way. So the fight in puberty is meant to to say, okay, I learned a lot. Thank you very much. I'm still learning, but now I am the boss. Now I am the author of my own life. I want to do it my way. It's the start. First, it starts emotionally. And then, when we come in our 20s, early 20s, mentally, we become our own boss if everything goes right. But it doesn't go right. Because we still are in a state that we give the authority outside ourselves. The other decides who we are, what we are, if we are okay or not okay. The other is able to either accept us or reject us. And both is so incredibly poisonous. So when somebody is accepting you, how do you feel? You're great. You're really fantastic. You're an example in my life. How does that feel? Oh, that feels great in the beginning. But then, if you're not totally relaxed with yourself and accept yourself as you are, a struggle will come forward. Because okay, this is not so great in me, and that is not so great in me either. And so this kind of has to be pushed a little bit away. So it is adding to the suffering as much as when we get rejected. So when we get rejected, we so much fight to be accepted. So what do we lose in that? What did we lose? Because it seems that only two possibilities are possible. Success or failure, acceptance or rejection, only that is possible. So we lost this deeper quality, which is in all of us, and which is a deeper truth, which is always there. And that's one of the things of the inner core qualities. It is there on the background, always there. This is the feeling of belonging, being part of. And there is no discussion about it, that we are part of. We do belong because we are part of. Even if in this group, we all say, okay, Bart, you are a pain in the ass, you don't belong. This would not be possible without me being here. So I do belong. You understand it? We are part of. Whatever is happening, we are part of, and we do belong. There is no question about it. But we forgot that. The feeling is not there. And we give the outside world the authority if we belong or not belong. So we give the outside world the authority if we are guilty or somebody else is to blame. Or we are innocent. But there is always innocence if we are pure or not pure. So if we are disgusting and we should shame ourselves, And of course, when we kind of lose the connection with the purity inside ourselves, we find ourselves entangled in a universe of shame and disgust. And this can be on a certain area. So often we see this around sexuality. Just the naturalness of our own sexuality is so much colored by shame and disgust. We have to disgust women because they bring forward a certain feeling in ourselves, which is shameful for us because we think that this is not pure. This is not a good feeling. This is an impure feeling. So, and of course, we cannot say this is because of us. No, we have to blame the other. So it's better for women not to sing because when they sing, the devil is singing through their voices. It's disgusting. Shiksa.
You mean fixa?
Shiksa.
Fixa.
Shiksa. Yeah, when we look to that, this is when you lose connection with purity. You need to move like this. You need to kind of, put it out. I said it before about anger, but this is shame and disgust. But the purity is always there in the depth of ourselves. It's a very important non-dual quality because purity by itself, when we look into it, makes it possible that any quality in the depth is unconditional. Pure love, unconditional love. Pure peace, unconditional peace. When we add pure to it, it becomes unconditional. Pure innocence, unconditional innocence. So we get entangled in the world outside ourselves, partly because this is how we learn. But then to kind of, at a certain moment, to draw back the authority towards yourself, to make this separation which starts in puberty. But we don't kind of move through puberty completely. We don't master that yet as a human race. Animals do it much better. They go through puberty and after that they're much more an individual. But we are not totally able to move through it. We get stuck there. So we don't really are able to become a responsible individual. An individual who says, I do it my way. To move back to our own core, to our own true nature. To say, okay, I'm responsible. Because it's all about responsibility in the end. I do it as I feel, as I believe, as I know is okay according to me, or not okay according to me, because this choice is there always. And sometimes it's really fun to do something not okay. And then later on, if we see that somebody is hurt, we regret it. And that's absolutely okay. This is how we learn. But we can only learn when we take responsibility for it. We said, okay, I chose to do it like this, and so you got hurt. I really regret it. Something else is guilt. I feel guilty is all about us. I feel so guilty that you're in a pain. I couldn't help it. I feel so guilty. Who am I talking about? About myself. I really regret that you are in a pain. There's something else. That's a movement out. You feel the pain of the other. Otherwise, you couldn't regret it. You're talking about the other. So guilt is not really helpful. So again, when we look into it, there's non-dual qualities to make the choice at a certain moment. Okay, I do it my way. And often this is happening when there is a big suffering. When the suffering is so big, the fight is so big that we at a certain moment realize what am I fighting for? I'm fighting for the acceptance. I'm fighting for belonging. I'm fighting for peace. I'm fighting for innocence. I'm fighting for purity. I'm fighting for the truth. But we're fighting so hard for the truth that we lost connection with truth. We kind of, find ourselves completely entangled in lies. Because everything is around lies. So, again, when we kind of start to suffer deeply enough, there is this kind of awakening, this realization, oh my God, it's not about that. It's not about the authority outside myself. It's about my own sense of truth and to trust it and not to have it affirmed anymore that somebody else says, okay, this is truthful what you're saying. But that you can affirm it by yourself. This feels truthful for me. I know that I was innocent in this. I can feel my own innocence in it. I can feel my own purity in it, irrespective of what the world is saying. I can trust my love. I can trust my care, irrespective of how the world is reacting. So this is when we are coming home. And in this coming home, often what's happening is that we come into this area, these qualities of our essence. And that comes together with a feeling of wholeness, homecoming, often experiences a stillness, silence, peacefulness, because there is no struggle there. There is no fight. So there is this fight, which in the end always has to do with authority. We give our anger authority. It's just an emotion. It comes and goes. Why would that be our God? Why would we fear our God? I cannot live when I'm fearful. And fear this and fear that and anxiety that and anxiety that, and we fight it like crazy, but at the same time, it's like our God. It has an authority over you. I cannot live with fear. And this is the suffering. I cannot live with telephones. That's the authority. Oh, sorry. So there is, when you look, we give things authority, all kind of things, crazy things.
How in the system or how in our mind we give it?
Because we were learning, and it's difficult to take the responsibility for yourself. And so we give the responsibility to something magical, something outside ourselves, guides. The guides have to tell me whatever, or the weather has to tell it, or we throw up a coin. Instead of moving back to what do we really feel? What is for us the depth of ourselves? How do we choose? Because we can make a mistake, we choose wrong. And if we make a mistake and we choose wrong, we get judged again. So the authority is still outside ourselves. At a certain moment, we have to become our own judge. So when you die and you're a Christian, you come in front of the judge. And the judge will tell you if you go to hell or you go to heaven. So who is judging who, do you think? There is no God, nothing judging us in the end. We judge each other. And we judge ourselves. And in the end, we have to judge ourselves. And we have to judge ourselves because we need to get free of this judgment. We have to move beyond it. It's not about right and wrong. Because right only exists because there is wrong. And wrong only exists because there is right. And we decide what is right and wrong. And with the one, we create the other. But it's just both forms of experience, forms of expression. And in one situation, wrong is right, and in another situation, right is wrong. And often we don't even know. We learn through expressing, we learn to giving form, and then we see if something is beneficial or not. This is how we learn. It's all about learning. It's all about evolution. And evolution, again, is not that friendly. We get hurt. But this is how we learn, by getting hurt. We learn to walk by falling down. We learn to run by falling down. We learn to hold our balance by bumping ourselves. And this is psychologically, this is on all levels. And in this we are pure and we are innocent, but we lose our purity and our innocence the moment that we think that we have to be perfect. Now, otherwise we're not good enough, and we start to judge everything inside ourselves which is not perfect, it's not good enough. So part of what we're doing here, the pathways of the heart, is the movement inside. And the movement inside is letting go of outer authority, slowly. And take your own authority in, okay, I went through this pain. There is something I didn't totally integrate yet as an experience, and it needs to be integrated because it's part of me. This experience is part of me, part of the whole, part of my makeup. And we cannot undo the experience. We can kind of, do as if it doesn't exist. So we contract it. We make a contraction, a block. But the horrible thing is that those contractions and those blocks, they're directly on the expression of the non-dual quality. So we lose the connection with the most precious thing which can be expressed through us. So we lose trust in our own genius because we are in a fight. We don't want to be stupid, so we have to be smart. So what is blocked is our own genius. And we find ourselves in the universe of stupid and smart. He is stupid and he is stupid, he is stupid, I am smart. But inside is the judgment. I'm basically very stupid. And again, this is a suffering. I know that I talk in circles, but it is the blockage is on genius. We were not seen in our genius, not recognized in our genius. Our genius was maybe put away by our mothers as not being important because it's unique. The one is maybe genius as a mathematician, but the other is maybe genius as a painter or a dancer or a singer or maybe as a geologist, as a judge. We all have our own genius, our own area of genius, our own way of thinking genius, being genius, and it is different. If people really move in their genius, their language is even different. It's unique. Things which we kind of understand and get very, very easily. And it's kind of so easy and we're so simple for us that we don't understand that somebody else has a difficulty with it. This is when you kind of start to move into your genius. So if you're not recognized in this, or it's even kind of put away as not important, and there is expected from us to be genius in a different way, it's where we are genius, we are not recognized. And we throw away the child with the bathwater. So we feel stupid. And we lose connection with our own genius. That's basically how it works. We lose trust in our own genius. And we blame our own genius even. And of course, this is creating suffering. So what we try to do in non-dual therapy and what we try to do in pathways of the heart is to go inside and to go to this pain, to this, okay, this was unbearable, I was not seen. Because this is what we don't want to feel. We so hard work to be smart and not to be stupid. You know, so that we never, never have to feel this pain again. So by kind of meeting this pain, okay, this is what happened. This pain is there. And we contain the pain. It opens up the pathway to the heart, to the genius, the heart of the suffering between stupid and smart. It brings us back to the quality. And it works the other way around as well. If we really are able to connect with this quality, also we just recognize the genius of a tree or of a cloud or of the ocean. And we connect with that in the depth. The vibration of genius is awakening in us as well. Or we really deeply connect with the genius in another person. It awakens the genius in us as well. And from this, we are also able to contain the pain which is there. And that's more easy because the genius is expansive and the pain is a contraction. And to connect with the pain from the pain is more difficult, is harder. We get more stuck as when we are in an expansion of a non-dual quality. So and that's partly what non-dual therapy is about. The pathways of the heart is about. Is to kind of, to work from two directions. To work from the inside out and the outside in. To work from the quality itself into the conflict, to contain the whole conflict, and to work from the conflict towards the quality through the pain. To move beyond the conflict, to look to the underlying pain. So in both sides. And because, there is so many different qualities of consciousness, so many different qualities of true nature in our core qualities, then you can work very precise. Guilt is asking for innocence. Shame and disgust are asking for purity. Rejection is asking for belonging. You understand? So you can work very, very precise. And that's partly what we're learning here, to work very, very precise. It doesn't need to be so precise. Because, peace will help to heal everything. If we are in peace with it, then the quality will come forward by itself. But this is kind of about precision, like to have a sculpet and to make exactly the incision which is needed. What? Surrender and war.
Seasonal, isn't it?
What was that? Surrender and what? Surrender
War.
and war. What's the quality though? Surrender is asking. I mean, war at peace. Okay, I missed a word.
Which is always there.
Okay.
It's always there. But we can lose the feeling of peace in war, or we can lose the feeling in connection with the feeling of peace in surrender if we are in a conflict with it, if we get locked in it. Yeah, okay.
People experience or knowledge, I know.
Yeah,
So in a way, science is a kind of a frozen knowledge, or even maybe an abuse of living experience. Because the rules are always there, but sometimes really works all the time. We need it to fly, we need it to drive, the rules of science. But it's also exists in the world.
absolutely. You know, yeah. Okay, I'll repeat the question. What about science? Silence, because science is knowledge, and it is frozen knowledge. Yeah, that's not true.
Why the person?
Frozen means that it doesn't evolve.
Why is frozen?
Silence doesn't evolve, or science?
Science.
The science,
Yeah.
I got it, science, like a scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know, when you talk to a scientist, it's not frozen at all. Science is changing all the time. It's deepening itself. There's more insights. Exactly. But you know, when it's good, but when we are fearful, we grab something from science and we hold on to this. This is the truth, the whole truth, and will also be like this. But you know, we are long beyond Newton's days. There is such a development also in physics that, you know, Newton doesn't hold anymore. You understand some aspects of Newton still hold, but we develop. So, and science is developing. So that means that what was truthful for you 10 years ago, some of the things are still holding, and some of the things changed. And this is the development. So it is good that we've got a sense of truth and that we have a sense of science and that we come to understanding. The mind is not there for nothing. But what is important to understand is that it is all developing itself, that there is an evolution going on, also in the area of mind. So that means that what we believe today could change.
The realities change.
No, our
fixed reality.
again, you know, our relationship with reality is changing. We have no idea what reality is. You know, it's the piss is going to our heads if we say this is the reality. We are really are studying the reality inside ourselves and outside ourselves. We are learning, we are studying, or to say it in a bigger thing, the big person up there, if it's a person or non-person or whatever, which is kind of, you know, we are part of and which is created us and is learning about his own creation through us, because that's much more closer to what I think is how things are built, is learning, experiencing all the time, developing. And so we are part of this development. So we cannot say this is true and this will always be true, because what is always true?
So when we learned about real or fake,
Yeah,
where does it come? When are we here? There was a whole course about real or fake.
yeah.
So if nothing is real in an absolute way, there is no fake.
Fake is an experience.
As opposed to what?
as opposed to something which feels less fake. It's a spectrum.
Who's
But the
talking?
reality is in the one which is able to feel anything at all.
Yes. So what is important? Why do we learn about real and fake? Because how can you be able to perceive fake? Yeah, because there is a sense of reality inside yourself. And this sense of reality, to come back there, to come home, your own sense of reality. And it doesn't mean that real is forever. In this moment, we sense this as real. The next moment, we sense that as real. What is in one moment real could be the next moment fake. I'm so happy to see you, and it's real. And the next day, you know, I'm so happy to see you. It sounds the same.
Okay. Say again. Existence or
Existence and non-existence.
Yeah,
existence?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this exists, this cannot exist.
yeah.
It's a big war.
Few years ago, we brought to our house a lecture about flat Earth. And what was amazing, that people that really are really cynical or really angry. Really what? Angry. So that.
Kalmdı bu Korazman.
Just hear it. It's a theory. We don't know anything, okay? And the reaction was so strong. It's amazing. And also children. And the friends of our daughter said, "Oh, what do you think for yourself that you read something like that?" And it's stupid, but it's interesting how much pain it's bring to the point of if something is not true, what does it say about my reality, my sense of
Yes.
in the world, what's true or wrong?
What is not true. Yeah. And it's not only about truth,
Just to
but
repeat what she said.
Okay.
Because I get the microphone so they can hear everything.
okay. So you repeat it and I give an answer. That's good.
Tammy said that they invited someone to give a lecture on flat Earth at their place, and the amount of emotion and rage that came forward and cynicism from people just because they believe differently. And this belief in the reality was telling her something about how much we are attached to our particular understanding, belief, point of view.
Yeah. And what is interesting is that you can kind of basically see and learn that people are living in a total different universe in how they perceive something. And these universes are all around us. You know, the flat earth is maybe a big one. But every religion is every sect, because a religion is divided in all kind of different sects. Doesn't matter if it's Judaism or Christianity or
Zoroastrian.
yeah, exactly. There's everything is divided again, and each sect has the reality. They know this is the real religion. This is the real connection.
But in our world today, that's only growing, right?
It is growing with
algorithms.
yes, exactly.
Social media.
Exactly the same.
Different-
Everybody gets more into his own reality because you get fed through a algorithm that fits in your interests. Yeah, the people get more and more isolated, also in realities, and it's not new.
Back in truth.
Yeah, and then that's a good thing
Right?
because it's very painful. It's incredibly painful, and it isolates people like crazy. And what will be the outcome when we move through this pain?
Unity.
Yes, an openness that everybody has his own reality.
Move beyond belief.
Move beyond belief, go back to your own reality. This feels real for me, and okay, if it feels real for you, it's different. We are not there yet. That will take some wars and some pain, but it is evolution. This is the only outcome which is possible. And by working on yourself, meditating, moving more quickly to this, inner core, the true nature inside yourself, you move quicker. You move quicker. So we make a pathway also for others. It's never selfish to work on yourself. You create a pathway, and this pathway helps others to kind of more easily move because there is an outcome. And they can see the outcome. They can see the outcome in your eyes. They can feel the outcome in your presence. They can hear the outcome in how you talk and how you relate. So there is hope, because when we get stuck, there is no hope.
But what is the duality of being, if you're not safe in anything, or nothing is safe. If even reality, corporeal, material reality is a question of, questioning. So what is the, I feel not safe, for example.
The quality is helplessness.
The quality of not
The
being.
quality of it's a quality, it's the most difficult quality, the quality of helplessness.
Not security.
It's a helpless universe. No,
Helplessness. It's a helpless universe. We are born helpless, we die helpless.
Every feeling is helpless. The duality is control and submission. Control and submission.
Yeah.
Possible.
No, only the helplessness, because the answer is no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Surrender.
Yeah, it's a quality.
It's incredible healer.
It is incredible healing. It's to recognize that you're helpless.
That's the non-dual quality you're speaking of, the helpless.
That's the quality.
Really, it's a vibration of helplessness. If you look at the ocean, it's helplessly existing. It didn't create itself. The waves are breaking. It's moving with the wind, with the moon, with the earth. It's helpless.
Yeah.
If you look at ourselves, we're born helpless. We're helpless underneath whatever we're experiencing. We think, I scratch my head, and afterwards I say, oh, I chose to scratch my head. I have a thought, and I say afterwards, oh, I chose that thought. But it's not true. It happens by itself.
Yeah.
We can't feel anything unless we move to helplessness, and then a feeling can happen, but we don't know what it's going to be. We can't move into the next day without moving through helplessness, because you can't know what the next day will bring before it comes. It's like knowing what was going to happen on your journey before taking it. Controlling is a kind of insanity, and helplessness is the release from that. This admission brings us back to this.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Yes, Ferret.
Hi.
The core quality.
For quality, but not.
It's a word.
No. But
It's the source of all power.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, we move on to Berge.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can translate it to this thing, so in like post-trauma, they're saying that it's like helplessness gets risen, or like you get in freeze, then you feel helpless, and then they they like offering doing like a controlling movement that you get outside of the freeze, and like how you can translate like what you said now, being in the helplessness while being in this chaos, and not trying to be like in control, but being in doing, or like I think you kind of understand me. I don't quite understand how to ask the question.
Yeah, I completely understand you. Helplessness is not kind of surrender. There is a difference. Helplessness is not saying, I am helpless, you can do with me what you want. That's not helplessness. Helplessness is to recognize in a certain situation that you're helpless. And if you're helpless, if you really connect with the quality, the feeling of helplessness, it's an expansion. And from this expansion, anything can come forward.
Okay.
Helplessness is letting go of the contraction or the fight. You understand?
Yes. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
The helplessness is often in the therapist, and the conflict is there in a lot of trauma therapy, that the therapist fears for the feeling of helplessness.
Yeah.
the therapist fears.
the feeling of helplessness. You know, you hear the story of somebody else, and you have no idea how the person is so deeply in conflict, so contracted, and so suffering, and you have no idea what to do. So then, if you cannot accept the helplessness, the moment that you say, okay, you know, I feel completely helpless in it, and this only the feeling, if it's shared, the helplessness in the client comes forward as well. And this is where movement is starting to be possible. When you say it like this, we all recognize it.
You allow
Yes,
yourself to be vulnerable.
Exactly. yeah, exactly.
מקבלים את החוסר אונים בבנייה, בקבלה. מקבלים את החוסר אונים בקבלה או בבנייה. זה נותן ספייס גם. לא, surrender זה קבלה או בנייה, בין קבלה. זה לא קבלה. מה שאני מתכוון. You said about the pain is not seen, but like the pain we didn't see without pain as a child, and we see the pain mode. Now we want us to be seen without pain, so we go outside and be seen. You know, we stop it.
Yeah, you repeat, sorry.
April says that Bart said that about the pain not being seen, and that the reason now is that because the pain wasn't seen as a child, that we go outside needing this pain to be seen. But at the same time, he's saying don't go outside. So I think that's the question, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
Good
So
question.
it's a good question, because this is basically what we do all the time. And I give just a very simple example, our relationship with our parents. We feel not seen and not appreciated on certain areas with our parents. And some of us are in a fight with our parents till they are in their graves, to kind of be affirmed, to get this seen in the pain, the loneliness, the misunderstandings which were there. They have to see us, because if they see us, then the pain is healed. And probably this will never happen. So Pathways of the Heart, this course, is we go to the pain ourselves. We take responsibility for this pain. I was not seen by my mother. And the moment that you kind of say, okay, no, I was not seen by my mother, this is hurtful, and you start to feel the pain and not want the pain to be taken away by your mother, something magical is happening. You can feel the pain, you can contain the pain, but at the same time there's something is opening up, and there comes a deep understanding why your mother could not see you in this. Because there is a reason your mother couldn't. She is wounded. There is something there, you understand? So it gets released from your mother to have to heal you from this. But it's not only your mother, it's all the mothers in the world. It's every woman you meet, every girlfriend you meet, this pain is playing a role, needs to be seen. And it doesn't work. Everybody, even if it's affirmed, oh, I understand that you got so much pain. It helps you maybe to accept the pain, because it's taken serious. But you know, the whole world can take in your pain serious, but as long as you don't take it serious, nothing will happen. And how do we take it serious? We take it serious by admitting, by accepting, okay, this hurts like hell. It happened. I have to deal with this. Not the world has to heal it for me. I have to deal with it. Not mother has to kind of change and be forced to kind of act in a certain way to heal it. No, I have to heal it. I'm responsible for this. It's my reaction. Because it's the only way we can heal. You know, it's the same with doctors. You go to a doctor and the doctor has to heal us. So the doctor can kind of, make an operation and the operation is perfect. Everything okay. But if the body doesn't heal itself, the patient will die. The operation was perfect, but the patient will die. The body has to heal itself. The only thing what the doctor does is to give the chance for the body to heal itself, give it a bigger chance. But the body has to heal itself. And maybe the body is able to heal itself without a doctor, maybe without a doctor. We don't know. We make choices. That's not that important. The end is that the body has to heal itself. So it's the same for our psyche. The psyche has to heal itself. There can be support. All the support is possible. But the support cannot heal the psyche. The psychologist cannot make you sane. The teacher cannot make you enlightened. It is not possible. Yes.
In this relationship that between you and the purity of who you are,
Yeah.
According to what you explained, seems to me like there is still an I that you relate, an I that identifies itself with the non-dual qualities, the purity.
Yeah.
And if there is an I there, so there is still a separation from the dual qualities.
Yes. Very, very, very good. You repeat it?
Did you hear that?
Yes,
Okay, so Amir talks about that in Bart's talk, he talked about moving to the quality, like the purity, which is always here, which is part of the essence. But he said, when you do that, it seems like the I is still moving and you're saying, I am the purity. And so there is still a separation from the quality of purity. There's still an identity playing out.
Yeah. It's the same with I am. There is still a separation from amness or isness. Yeah. And so that's part how we communicate and part of our consciousness, our conscious being. So consciousness is kind of, I see you. And because we are conscious like this, that I see you, not I experience you. This is already different, or it becomes an experience. But this consciousness gives us the opportunity to understand things more to the depth, to give philosophies, to build philosophies, to build different ways. It's part of us. And that gives us the opportunity to have this kind of I position in which you say, okay, I see purity, I experience purity, and the next step would be I am purity, and then purity. Like being is the same, and same with love. But because we live right now in a physical world with the dualities, we have to deal with the dualities, and also this I, this separate I, which is there, is part. And you can call the separate I ego. It doesn't really need to be ego. It doesn't need to be pretense. But it is a way of connecting. It is a circulation we're making like this back to the depth. And then from the depth reborn. And this circulation is happening. And this circulation is part of being physically here. So we need a mind. We cannot just pure be. We need also to do things, to learn, to reflect. And for reflection, you need a separate I. The moment that you act and do something, and you want to reflect on it, you want to understand, we need this witness, we need this separate I who is looking at it.
But there is a possibility of experiencing without the I.
Absolutely.
Yes. So the I is only a function.
It is a function, it's not who you are.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. It's not who you are. You are not what you believe, you're not the I, it's a function.
So so how it comes to be in this point of view? where you relate to where you when I'm missing the part where the I disappears.
Yeah.
He's
So-
missing the part where the I
No,
disappears.
no, let me see it. Now we
Okay, so I repeat a little bit what I said. So the I is moving inward towards the pain. And then kind of, coming to contain. But the other part is when we connect with the non-dual quality, and the non-dual quality is moving outwards as itself. There is no I in that.
In the expansion.
It's in the expansion, it's just the non-dual quality as being. So it's pure love, pure innocence, pure purity. You understand? There is no I in that.
So
Yeah.
So that's still just an experience of no I.
Yeah.
So you're still when you so in a way it seems like what you're saying, it's impossible to function in the world without an I.
So is it impossible to function in the world without an I?
I'm questioning that
Yeah.
actually.
And
Yeah.
here is questioning.
Yeah. I think that right now, in where we are now in our evolution, and to be able to communicate, to be able to understand each other, we need an I. But it's very important to realize that this I is relative. It's something which is created in a moment and also can disappear the next moment.
I think what I see is that as a limitation here is that if you come, so you realize and you come to realize that there is this possibility because you experience the possibility of the dissolvement of the I.
Yeah.
But as you function in the world, you're still carrying this I, and this I always going to be in conflict.
Not necessarily.
Only then you have to stop. Yeah, and then you go through the processing, and the processing you find no I, but in your functioning, if you're functioning from the I, there's always going to be a conflict arising, and then you're all the time in working, trying to work out this conflict. Okay, the pathway of the heart is one way to work it out. So you come back to, so you create some sense of peace. But in your functioning, you are always creating more and more conflict. So there is never a possibility. So you're saying, okay, we need to evolve more to get to this.
Okay.
Can you rephrase it?
Yeah.
I don't. So, but I think as long as we're trying to evolve, we're.
So Amir is saying that as far as he can tell, it's very nice to have experiences like pathways of the heart and meditation and dissolving. But as soon as we go into the world and we start functioning, we are always there with an I, and we never really get rid of it. And where the I is there, there is always conflict. And so he's speaking a little bit from a place of, it's an open question, but he's pondering, and there's a kind of despair in it that he'd like to get rid of his I.
To get rid of it, I just don't see, as long as it's there, I don't see possibility of true peace in the world.
As long as the I is there, he doesn't see a possibility of true peace in this world.
Okay, let's define I, because we need to define I. So we have the I, which is the separate I, which is connected with ego much more, pretends and whatever, me or you. And then we have the I, which is the identification with the personality. When we talk about our personality, this is a kind of identity as well. There's a certain I when we talk about it. Then we have the I, which is connected with pure consciousness. I see you. I'm aware of you. With awareness, I perceive you. It's pure perception. And then there is the I, which is already dissolving into the pure quality. And then we have the pure quality, which is dissolving in the potentiality, where the quality is coming from, where there is no form, only where there is no I. So if you move deeply into the experience where there is no I, there is a change. And the change is that all the I's which we are carrying are becoming relative. We don't identify with it anymore. It's just a form. And the form is very well able to take care of itself. So there is this movement beyond fight and beyond identification. So the I is a form we can use and we can put away, and it will take care of itself. It's not that we need to be entangled. Your personality, we cannot get rid of it. It's part. If we got rid of our personality, we couldn't communicate anymore. We couldn't give form anymore.
Between getting rid of something and not being attached to something.
Exactly. That's a big difference. And this is often where we are confused, because we want to get rid of our ego, and that will never work. The more we want to get rid of our ego, the more we get entangled in our ego. But to get less attached, to detach from the ego, then the ego becomes a servant, you understand, and not the God anymore. It's the same as the personality. If we detach from the personality, there is an I there, and the I is part of us. As long as we have a physical body, the personality will not disappear, but we detach from it. And the more we detach, the more we start to center in our true nature. And the more we center into our true nature, the less we are in a struggle, in a fight, the more we can just allow experiences to be as they are.
We present it as a process of being more and more there.
Yeah.
But still there is this infinite, still a little bit of an I there.
Yeah.
And
there is a
little less.
Yeah, there is no way I could talk or give form without a little bit of I.
The question is not so much because really our real natural state of mind, of being, has no I. When you are really in the purity of the non-dual, there is no I.
No.
So that is real.
That is a real as an experience.
The experience of there being no I is the ultimate reality, or is real as an experience. Is what
it exists.
Yeah.
It exists.
Yeah, absolutely it exists. No.
In a way.
Yeah, in a way, but you see, yeah, in a way, but no.
And can't we?
What do you mean in a way, but no?
But if we can function from that place of purity, if we are functioning, then there is peace.
He says, if we can function from that place of no I, of purity, then there is peace.
Yeah.
How could we not function?
because as long as because in our reality things move so fast, there is no real time to process.
No.
And that's where war is happening.
Yeah. In reality, things move so fast, there's no time to process, and that's where war is happening, and reactivity and conflict, and everything takes over, which is a very sober and very realistic.
But if you remember it, you need to remember it the whole time. You have to keep it in mind the whole time, the whole dimensions. When you are like, just keep it in mind, and this is exactly.
That's why we're talking about pathways, because it's a circulation.
It's a circulation.
We're getting lost in the forest and coming back, getting lost in the jungle and coming back, and it's speeding up the circulation. We want that path to be clear so we can get totally wet in the ocean of experience and all the shitty, fucky, nasty war stuff and experience all terrible stuff. But we can always find our way back to something.
That allows for healing,
That allows for healing.
but it's still
Still sucks.
It's seemingly no way out. But
Seemingly, but this is a lot of emotion in the background, which is coming now through your thinking processes of pain, a lot of pain coming.
and I
And
in my
irritation.
understanding, maybe there is a way for total total dissolvement of the center, and it's still the personality can exist just like my shirt exists.
Exactly, that's how it is. Yeah,
Not
exactly. That's how it
If
is.
you are totally free
Yeah,
from it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So